All right, y'all, it's Monday, March 9th, 6 p.m. Eastern. This is a video about connector keys, or keying on the connector, keying, K-E-Y. So these are different families of connectors, okay? This family here, top left, this is the Sumitomo RS series. We've got another Sumitomo RS series here, but it's a standard type 2 versus the other one. Top right, this is Sumitomo HX040. Here, the white and pink lock, that is the Delphi Aptiv GT150 sealed series. Delphi got purchased by a company called Aptiv a few years ago, but the trade name for Delphi is so strong. A lot of people typically still refer to these type of connectors as Delphi or Delphi connectors, even though they're technically Aptiv now. These two one-ways, these are Yazaki 092 connectors, and then the four at the bottom here, the green, the gray, and the two black, those are AMP SSC series, which stands for Sealed Sensor Connector Series. So these two connectors are the same family. And the purpose of the connector key is to make sure that if you have two sensors and you want to make sure that they may have the same connector family, but you don't want them to plug into each other. So if you had these two sensors or two nodes on whatever this harness or loom is plugging into, and these two connectors were on the loom waiting to be plugged into something, the key on the connector would make sure you didn't plug the wrong connector into the wrong sensor, even though both sensors are three-way and for all intents and purposes could even be measuring the same thing. So these connector keys here, typically you'll notice, okay, you'll see some similarities between these different keys, right? So that generally speaking, two different color connectors generally designate a different key, generally, right? When it comes in the wiring world, nothing is ever 100% on some of these things because there are just so many different connector families, manufacturers. Sometimes they do things a little bit different than others, so you can't say always, but typically speaking, same connector family, different color, that means there's a different key, okay? Now, at the same time, Deutsch connectors, right? There can be Deutsch connectors, black and gray, that are the same key. They have other colors in Deutsch connectors too, in terms of DTM, DT, and DTP. Sometimes the colors also mean different keys. So, again, it's not a guarantee even on something that is, such a general connector family as Deutsch DTM. So during COVID, when that was going on, we actually started carrying the black variants of the Deutsch DTM, even though they were the same key, just because stock was so difficult to get on the gray. We started getting the black ones. They were, again, the same key, but different color. So, but normally, all of these connectors that are the same family, at least the ones sitting in front of me here, are same family, paired up, different color, all different keys, except for these two here on the AMP or Tyco SSC series, which I'll talk about here in just a second. So this is just an example. Okay, now all of these, except the GT150, all of these other connector housings are laid face down. So what we're looking at right here, okay, on all these connectors, we would call this the back side of the connector housing. So this is not the connector face. When you go to look for the key, okay, on the connectors, you need to be looking at the face of the connector. So if we turn these two Sumitomo RS connectors over, let's line them up right next to each other. You'll see that the brown connector on the left, right? The brown connector on the left, these two little notches on the left and right side of the connector face, okay? The gray one has the same two notches too on the left and right, except on the brown, the key, okay, we're gonna call that the key. On the left side, the key is low, and on the right side, the key is low as well. Whereas on the gray, connector housing, same family. The key on the left is, I would probably say is in the middle, and the same thing for the one on the right. I actually think with this family, the left and right they're not, you wouldn't have a left side down, a right side high. I think it moves both of them, whether it be a low, middle, or high key on that family. Now, if we go over to the other Sumitomo family and we flip them onto their back of the connector and staring into the connector face now, let me line these up real close to each other and you can see. So the connector keys here, again, the two notches on the left and on the right side of the connector housing, left and right side of the connector housing. On the blue one, on the left side, it's a high key. On the right side, it's a low key. On the green one, both the keys left and right are low. So again, if these were plugging into sensors next to each other, because of the different key, you're not going to be able to put them onto the wrong node or whatever it's supposed to plug into. So if we go to another example here on the Sumitomo HX040, which is this Sumitomo HX040 series, you'll see here gray connector, the two notches are low on the left and right side. On the black connector, they're in the middle. So these are commonly found on a bunch of Honda engines. Honda loves to use the same connector family for a lot of their popular motors. And on this particular one, this will fit a variety of K20 and K24 parts. The one on the left I actually think will fit crank cam. The one on the right is the low cam key. I want to say for maybe K24A2. Okay, so over here on the Delphi Aptiv family, another example of the key. If we stand these connectors up, and I'm going to set them right next to each other again here, you'll see here on the connector face, on the white, okay, I'm going to get the depinning tool because these keys are getting very small. So that little protruding area there is the key, and that protruding area there is the key. And you can see on the purple, right, on the purple, the key is low here, and then it's low here too, but it's a different shape. So even though these are both Aptiv / Delphi GT150 sealed series, again, normally different color means different key. This is the white lock, which is common for all your GT150 air temp sensors across tons and tons of engines. The one on the right is for the engine temp or coolant temp. Those are super common as well. So, and then Yazaki, this is the 092 sealed series. These two connectors fit a bunch of temp switches. I think one of them may be NOx sensor as well. But here you'll see that on the connector housing on the left, the light gray, it's got a thin key here on the left and a wide key on the right. And then on the dark gray one, it's got a large key on the left and the thin key on the right. So far, every different color has a different key. And then lastly, we'll talk about here is this amp / Tyco / TE SSC series or connector family. And this one has there's 4 that I have here in front of us now, but there's I think like maybe 3 or 4 more keys for this particular two-way connector, which fits dozens of different sensors across a multitude of engines. So on these keys here, the green one, which is very, very popular. Okay, so not only are we looking at left and right on this key, so it's got a low key on the left, a high key on the right. In the middle here, it also has another key there. So the gray one, different color, different key. This one has low key on the left, middle key at the bottom, except instead of the key being high, it's now the right key is low. So we switch colors again to a new connector, same family. In this case, the left key is high, bottom key is mid, and then right key is high again. So on this one, both keys are high. Now here we have same connector family, same color. These are all genuine, pieces, right? One thing that I will tell people is that if they are buying, aftermarket connectors from, either, one of the, online Alibaba, Temu, eBay, not sure who the seller is type thing. Even on some of the harnesses I've had folks bring to me that are not genuine components, when they're not genuine components, I have found that you cannot rely upon the color of the housing to be what the typical genuine component key would be. So in this case here, all three of these different colors, then we get to the fourth one here, another black one. And in this case here, it matches the black one on the left where it's got left keys high, bottom keys in the middle. And on this one here, the right key is high, but on this one, the right key is down. So these two connectors are basically identical, except the only difference is that on this one, this little notch right here, this little notch on the right, on one, the key is low on the right side, and on one, the key is high. So it's always a question when people send me pictures or they want me to identify, what, does this fit what I'm trying to get it to fit for, etc. Many times if you send a picture of just the rear of the connector, you can't really see the keying information, which is very, very critical. Even though normally you can recognize the connector housing family or the connector family just from the housing, when it comes to the keying, you need to be looking at the connector face. So hopefully this helps some of y'all that have asked that question before.